The global event for Pokemon GO Fest 2025 is only a week away, and in this video, I'm going to be covering everything you guys could be doing right now to get yourself ready for this massive event. For those of you that have never played a Pokemon GO Fest before, you're going to have an entire weekend to play, which means 16 hours of insane spawns, raids, and boosted shinies if you guys decide to actually purchase the ticket. There are a lot more paid tickets and event passes this year, so we'll definitely spend some time analyzing the value of those in a separate video, but typically the event ticket is worth its value due to the increased shiny odds and free raid passes. Now aside from the paid tickets and passes, there are going to be a few premium items that I'd also recommend stocking up on if you can. These are going to be important throughout the event, so let's talk about those. The first is going to be incense. For ticket holders, you're going to get access to special unknown and regional incense spawns on both days. Incense are going to last 1 hour like normal, which means you're going to want to have a total of 8 to use per day to maximize your chances of getting a shiny unknown or even shiny regional. You're also going to need to be walking in order to get a new spawn about every minute from your incense. If you're going to be stationary, this isn't going to work out too well for you. Now, if you plan on playing for 8 hours with minimal breaks, drop all of your incense at the start of the event. That's going to be the best tip I recommend. However, for most players, I would recommend dropping your incense in batches of 1 to 2. This way you can avoid wasting them during your breaks and focus on the grind once you actually decide to use them. I find this to be a lot more applicable to most players' playstyle, opposed to, the few hardcore players that are just grinding non-stop. Next up, let's talk about lure modules, which are going to be extended to 1 hour during this event for all players, so whether or not you actually have the ticket. Now, this means that you should ideally be dropping these at your local grind spot throughout the day to help out your community, but also to work on your Platinum Picnicker medal. You're going to get 1 point every time somebody else catches a Pokemon off your lure module, so in a popular grind spot, you can make some great progress on this medal. Now, with that being said, I wouldn't actually recommend buying these from the shop, but if you do have some stockpiled from showcases, for example, this is going to be a great time to use them. I know that kind of sounds like conflicting information, but I think it's just better to save your PokeCoins for other things in-game, like storage upgrades or different premium items. Now for the next item I want to talk about, let's go over lucky eggs and star pieces both together. So I don't actually recommend using either of these during this event. Unless I missed something, I didn't see any outstanding bonuses for these two. There are some bonuses unlocked if you happen to pick up the Go Pass Deluxe for $20, but overall, I would not worry about these. There are much better times to use these in games, so yeah, during this event, focus on the spawns, but don't focus on having lucky eggs and star pieces active during the event, unless you're like a spend to win player. Now we also have incubators and super incubators, but I didn't see any exclusive Pokemon from eggs on the official blog post, but there are typically event-themed eggs during an event like this. However, nothing was officially announced, and therefore I can't make a recommendation because of that. In past years, the shiny rates on eggs have actually been pretty bad, so take that for what you will. I personally have a bunch of incubators, but without a good incentive to actually use them, I'm still not going to use them during an event like this. It just doesn't make sense. I'm sure there's going to be some people watching this right now that went to the in-person event. If you guys know what those egg hatches happen to be, let us know in the comment section down below. That'll definitely give us an overall better perspective on whether or not it's actually worth using incubators, but as of what I've read so far, it's definitely not. For the next item, let's talk about premium raid passes. These are going to be the green raid passes. Now real quick, I do want to mention for ticket holders, you are going to get 9 free orange passes to use each day, which means you're going to have a total of 18 over both days, and therefore you're definitely going to be stocked up on raid passes to an extent. But like most major events, the featured raid bosses are going to be highly desirable, and therefore you're going to want to stockpile as many premium raid passes for additional raids. If you want to get at least 1 Crown Zacian and 1 Crown Zamazenta, you're going to need to do at least 10 raids each. Zamazenta will be featured on Saturday, and Zacian is going to be featured on Sunday. When it comes down to both Zacian and Zamazenta, they're both going to be extremely meta relevant in their crown forms, both in raids as well as PvP. So honestly, there's no bad option here, it's just whichever one you end up liking the most. Personally speaking, I'm going to be doing a lot more Zacian raids than Zamazenta. Now finally, for those of you guys out there who have other responsibilities during this event weekend, there is going to be no limit on remote raid passes. Now keep in mind, these are going to be significantly more expensive than the green in-person passes, but they're far more convenient. You can use apps like PokeGenie to find quick raid lobbies, and overall during major events like this, it's much easier to join raids remotely opposed to hosting them. Now when it comes down to remote raid passes, you cannot stockpile these like regular premium raid passes, so you're going to have to buy more as you actually need them. Again, the cost is kind of high, but I feel like for the convenience factor, it's definitely worth it. So basically when it comes down to it, having your incense ready and your raid passes ready are going to be the main things that you want to get prepared. Otherwise, everything else, it's totally optional. So with that being said, that pretty much covers the best premium items I recommend using, but what about the free items? What should you actually prepare in your bag for this? So let's talk about that right now. First up, we're going to have all the berries, so let's talk about pineapple berries first. I'd recommend about 25, and depending on your playstyle, you may want more or less of these. After playing through like enough events myself, I've realized that I'm usually more focused on quick catching, and that also means not using berries to actually save more time. The only time that I'm really going to be using pineapple berries is that if there's like a really rare Pokemon, but most of the Pokemon featured during this event I already have. For the few that I don't, sure, I'll definitely keep a couple pineapple berries for that. But at the same time, I'm also going to be spinning Pokestops throughout the day, and usually I do end up with more pineapple berries than I actually started with. And for an event with 16 hours of spawns, you're definitely going to get enough candy from just quick catching everything by itself. Next up, let's talk about Nana berries, which again I'm going to recommend 25, and this is mainly just for the aggressive Pokemon out there, because if you use a Nana berry, it's going to stop attacking completely. The next berry I want to talk about is going to be golden raspberries, and I recommend having at least 50 plus for this event. These are going to give you the best catch rate in the game combined with excellent curveball throw, so keeping these on hand for Pokemon with like really low catch rates, it's going to be really helpful. Now if you're going to be raiding throughout the day, you're most likely going to continue to restock them, but maybe not at the same pace that you're actually using them. So the more that you have, the better. But of course, it all depends on your backspace. And so I recommend at least 50 plus. That should be solid, if not more, if you have the space. But I think some people out there with like 300, 400, that's a bit excessive. You probably don't need that many. So when it comes down to those players, I think that's going to be a great problem to have. Having too many golden raspberries is definitely, that's definitely something. But I think a lot of newer or returning players probably aren't even going to have at least 50, in which case you would definitely want to have at least 20 regular raspberries on the side just to help out with those catch rates. Now speaking of helping out with catch rates and also getting you more candy, silver pineapple berries are probably going to be the most important berries to have during this event. These should ideally be saved for the legendary Pokemon that you do want to farm candy on. Now during the Global Go Fest event, we're supposed to get a global bonus that is going to increase the catch rate on the Pokemon that you actually catch from raids. Therefore, silver pineapple berries should almost be a guaranteed catch. I mean, these have a really close catch rate to golden raspberries, and they also have the increased candy rate compared to regular pineapple berries. So let me break this down, alright? For regular raspberry, it's going to be a 1.5 times catch rate. For a silver pineapple berry, it's going to be 1.8 times catch rate. And then for a golden raspberry, given the best catch rate, it's going to be 2.5 times. And then when it comes down to the candy bonuses, for a regular pineapple berry, it's going to be 2 times candy. And then for a silver pineapple berry, it's going to be slightly more, 2.33 times candy. Silver pineapple berries are probably the most difficult berry to get in the game. So if you guys have a nice supply of them right now, definitely make sure to cash them in during this event. I cannot think of actually a better time to use them just with the increased catch rate on the legendary Pokemon. I mean, you're guaranteed to get a lot more candy for Zacian and Zamazenta, and that's definitely what I'm going to be doing. Now speaking of raiding, let's talk about max potions and max revives. I feel like so many players go way too overboard when it comes down to keeping these. I think at most 100 of each is going to be fine. If you're going to be raiding in big groups, even less. Like, to be honest guys, during big events like this, 50 of each is more than enough for me. I never even go through that many. But if you have like smaller groups, I mean, typically having more is going to help out. Especially if you don't have your Pokemon powered up just yet, then you definitely want to have a lot more max revives, you know, stockpiled. But if you already have powered up Pokemon, you're not really going to use these as often. Not to mention, when you actually beat the raid bosses, you get potions and revives back. Now, for those of you out there who are having trouble getting these items in game, I would recommend spending more gym stops, especially the ones that you actually have gotten gold gym badges at. Now, finally, let's talk about Pokeballs, Ultra Balls, and Great Balls. And yes, I said it in that order for a reason. Now, for Pokeballs, if you guys have an auto catcher, you definitely want to have as many of these as possible. It's going to be so important to have this running while you guys are actually participating in raids throughout the day. I mean, you can't catch anything, right? But that doesn't mean that your auto catcher can't. So having this in the background is definitely going to play a big role in how many Pokemon you end up catching. Now on the flip side of that, if you're going to be freehanding your throws, which by the way is going to be a much better consistency in terms of catching Pokemon, having as many Ultra Balls stocked up is going to be the best way to go about this. But it takes a really, really long time to build these up, so I mean, if you haven't been stockpiling these already, definitely start right now. And if you don't get to a high number, that is okay. You can definitely supplement the rest of them with Great Balls. Now, just to recap, that is why I went over the other items first, just so I could help you guys minimize the amount that you're actually keeping in your bag, because you do want to prioritize your bag space for all Pokeballs, Ultra Balls, and Great Balls ideally. This is going to be a catch-focused event outside of raid battles, so you really do want to be catching as much as possible. And if you have most of your item bag filled up with potions and revives, it's going to be kind of hard to do that without having to restock constantly. The more time you have to spend restocking, the less time you guys actually have to spend grinding. Now for many of you out there, I totally understand you guys have full-time jobs, which might make it kind of difficult to go out and spend a bunch of Pokestops leading up to this event, especially if you haven't done much prep beforehand. So if you find yourself lacking time to even open up the game, just at least open up the game to open up your daily gifts and you should be good to go. For those of you out there who don't have at least 30 friends to open up gifts from every single day, I would strongly recommend checking out the Pokemon Go Friends subreddit. There's tons of friend codes there, tons of people that are open to sending gifts, and that's going to be the best way to go about it. Now of course though, if you guys do have some time to put aside to go out there and restock a few days before the event, more power to you. You're going to want as many Pokeballs as possible like I mentioned earlier, and even with all the prep that I do, I usually have to reserve some time after the first day to restock my bag for day 2. Next up I want to talk about Pokemon storage management, and for an event like this I'd recommend a minimum of 200 open spots and ideally 1,000 plus if you guys can manage it. I get comments every year telling me I'm crazy to recommend this amount, but at the same time I also get people coming back after the event telling me that I was 100% right about it, because over the course of 2 days guys, you do not want to spend a bunch of time during the event transferring Pokemon, and after playing multiple Go Fests, I can confidently say that that number is what you ideally want to aim for. Now personally speaking, 700 to 800 is my sweet spot. I think that's more than enough for me throughout the event, but for anybody who wants to grind this event really hard, I mean seriously, 1,000 plus is going to make your life so easy compared to everybody else. You definitely don't want to be that guy who only has 50 open spots and is struggling to make space throughout the event, especially while accumulating so many good Pokemon. Now of course I do practice what I preach, so if you guys are struggling to make space, I actually have a full storage management guide video that I'm going to strongly recommend checking out. You can find that linked down below as well as in the top right hand corner right now. This has helped out so many players in game. Like seriously, it takes a while to set up my system, but once you got that set up, I guarantee every single event that you guys play moving forward is going to be so much more efficient. Next up, let's talk about grinding PokeCoins from gyms. I know I've kind of made this video a little bit late, so it might feel like it's a little bit too late to go out and stack yourself in a few gyms for some extra coins, but it's not. I mean, an extra few coins can definitely make a difference, right? That could be like an extra storage upgrade, for example, or a couple extra premium raid passes. Now, to be fair, I have been proactive about this for the last few weeks, so I've accumulated a decent amount of coins, not like anything crazy because I'm not getting these every single day, but when I can, I do try my best to drop in gyms and stay in those gyms. Now, I am planning on personally upgrading my Pokemon storage and item bag a bit more before the event with my extra coins, but you can use these extra coins on whatever you need the most. For example, some of you guys out there might want to use it on raid passes, and I think that is a perfectly valid thing to spend it on. Now, for those of you out there who aren't free to play, or maybe you're mostly free to play, I would actually recommend putting aside some money from your paycheck to get some PokeCoins for this event. And this again is just to fast track your item bag storage and to fast track your Pokemon storage to get to a good amount of space. It's totally optional though, it's just a recommendation that I think is always good for newer or returning players who just really don't have that much Pokemon storage space available. I mean, you can totally grind this out free to play, it just takes a really long time. I've been playing free to play for the last 9 years, so every PokeCoin that I've ever earned in-game has been through gyms. And trust me, it would be ideal if I could get them every single day, but that almost never happens. I have about 4,400 Pokemon storage after playing 9 years free to play. So yeah, I mean, if you want to fast track your progress a little bit by just spending some money to get yourself to the right spot before an event like this, not exactly a bad idea, and something that I do really recommend just to make your life so much easier over the weekend. Next up, let's talk about the fast catch trick and the circle lock method. So if you guys still haven't mastered these amazing methods in game, you definitely want to practice them before the event to improve your catching speeds as well as efficiency. Normally it takes about 18 seconds to catch a Pokemon going through the full animation, but with the fast catch trick, you can do it in roughly 5 seconds. Now when it comes down to the circle lock method, this is going to be a great way to consistently land excellent throws, but it might not be as beneficial during this event with the increased catch rates on legendary Pokemon, so maybe not something you need to practice as much, but it's a pretty easy technique to get down. Just hold down the Pokeball to set the circle, wait for the attack animation, and then time your throw so that it lands right as that attack animation finishes. It takes a bit of time to get used to and to get the timing down, and it's a little bit different for every single Pokemon, but once you got it down, man, I mean, there's not a better way to catch in-game in my opinion. So for anybody who hasn't mastered these tricks yet, you guys can check out the video links down below or on screen right now. Next up, let's talk about adventure effects, and there's really only one adventure effect I recommend using, and this is specifically for ticket holders, and that's going to be Spatial Rend on Palkia Origin Form. The main reason you want to use this is for the increased radius on spawns, because in simple terms, more spawns equals more shiny chances. So if you have rare candy that you're not really sure what to do with, dump it into Palkia Origin Form. Trust me, you're definitely going to get your value during this event. For a Go Fest event, there's not a better time to actually use it. When it comes down to non-ticket holders, the main reason that I don't recommend using this is because you won't have the shiny boost, and therefore going full odds on everything, not exactly a great time to use Spatial Rend. The only other 2 times that I would recommend using Spatial Rend is during a Stardust boosted spawn Spotlight Hour, or a 3x Catch Stardust Calm Day. Next up, let's go over some things you want to bring with you for the event, typically stuff to pack in your bag. First of all, snacks. You're going to be playing for 8 hours. You definitely want to have some stuff to eat throughout the day to get your energy back. I mean, otherwise you're just going to be like a zombie by the end of the day. And if you want to save your appetite for, lunch or for dinner or something like that, I can understand, but at least something to get you through the day is going to be recommended. I'll leave it up to you guys what you want to actually pack. You guys know your body is best. But also on top of that, water. Bring a water bottle, bring 2 water bottles. I mean, stay hydrated. Now, speaking of taking care of yourself, I would also recommend sunscreen for your face, your body, and then also chapstick for your lips. Now, personal care aside, I'm also going to recommend external batteries for your phone. I typically recommend 2. You can get away using 1 if you actually remember to charge it the day before, but so many of us are just so tired after day 1 that we forget about small things like this. In which case, having a second one fully charged is just going to make your life so much easier. But again, it's not required. When it comes down to the best brand I'd recommend using, I typically go with Anchor myself, but I'm not sponsored or affiliated by them, so feel free to go whichever one you guys think is the best. Now, to go alongside the external batteries, you also want to have charging cables with you. I mean, typically having one's always going to be recommended, but for an event like this where you're going to be playing with other players, having an extra cable or even having a different type of cable, for example, Android users use USB-C, same thing with the most recent iPhone users, but for old iPhone users, they use lightning cables still. So I always carry at least a lightning cable and a USB-C cable with me at all times, just because you never end up knowing who's going to need a cable throughout the day. Tons of people do not prepare properly for these events, but they're still your friends, and so you definitely want to make sure that they're good to go for this event. That's more of a personal take, I guess you could say, but if you're just going to be playing solo, having 1 cable is perfectly fine. Having an extra in case your cable stops working is a good precaution, but not exactly necessary. Now, finally, you do want to have an auto catcher with you. I mean, I would not say it's required, but it definitely makes your life a lot easier throughout the event. And of course, having the extra auto catcher batteries, specifically the one that I use takes AAA batteries, so I always have at least an extra 2 with me, just in case for whatever reason I forgot to replace the batteries or it just ends up dying on me. I can always, swap them out and boom, I'm good for the rest of the weekend. Now, when it comes down to the best auto catcher, I would recommend going with the official Pokemon Go Plus, and then when it comes down to third party, I actually really like the Dual Catchmon. Now, for some reason, the company that owns Dual Catchmon does not like me. I have no idea why or what I did or said to them. I tried to be quite professional when I reached out, but essentially when I reached out to do an affiliate deal, they just blocked me. They didn't say anything. They were just like, nope, can't send messages anymore. At the end of the day, guys, it is what it is. Honestly, I'm not going to lose sleep over this. Just kind of thought it was a weird scenario because, I mean, overall, that promo would most likely just do positive things for their product, and kind of blocking a content creator with a decent sized audience in the space that they're targeting just doesn't really make that much sense, especially when there's no beef. Anyways, putting that all aside, let's go over what you want to do before day 1 of this event. So first of all, you want to make plans with your friends, decide who you're going to play with, where you're going to play, and of course what you're going to be doing. If you guys don't have a community around you, I would strongly recommend checking out Campfire for any local meetups. It is 100% worth making the drive to play with a big group during an event like this. It just makes it so much more fun. The second thing, plan on getting at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep the night before, minimum. You're going to be grinding for a long time, and this also includes the following day as well. Getting enough sleep before the first day is extremely important because you might not get as much sleep before day 2. Number 3 is going to be to prepare a lunchbox with food and snacks, bring a cooler with water bottles. This is definitely a more cost-effective approach opposed to eating out. But if you guys do want to go out somewhere to eat with friends, that's perfectly fine as well. I would recommend mapping out which restaurants actually have a few Pokestops around them. This way you can actually drop some lure modules and keep passively grinding throughout the event. And then finally, the fourth thing is going to be to set reminders/alarms to charge your devices, pack your bag the day before. It is so easy to forget one thing or another and then your whole day is messed up. So alarms and reminders can go a really, really long way if you guys are kind of forgetful. And trust me, I totally am, so I'm definitely going to be doing this. Next up, let's go over the prep you want to do before day 2 of the event. So number 1, manage your Pokemon storage. After playing roughly 8 hours of the event, you now need to start preparing for day 2, which is going to be an even crazier day of grinding. Figure out what you want to keep if you got good IVs, transfer everything else non-relevant, and ideally by the end of it, if you guys follow my method for organization in my Pokemon storage management guide video, you should have 0 untagged Pokemon. Number 2 is going to be to mirror trade any Pokemon. If you guys have a friend that is willing to at least do those mirror trades, it's going to be a great way to get rid of any Pokemon you were planning to reroll for better IVs anyways. In total, you can do up to 100 trades per day, and keep in mind that you guys also have 6 special trades if you bought the event ticket as well. Now finally, for number 3, it's going to be to restock your Pokeballs before day 2. I cannot stress how important this is. Like, hopefully throughout the day you guys were spending Pokestops along the way and you kind of don't have to restock as much, But for those of you guys out there who depleted your Pokeball supply, you're going to need to spend at least 1 to 2 hours after the event restocking. That pretty much covers everything you guys need to know to get yourself ready for this massive 2-day event. If you guys have any more tips you would like to add additionally, let us know in the comment section down below. Otherwise, if you do need help managing your Pokemon storage before Pokemon Go Fest, then check out this video next.